Have you ever felt like you're carrying weight that isn't entirely yours? Like there are fears, patterns, or pain in your life that seem to come from somewhere deeper than your own experiences? You're not imagining it. The truth is, we inherit more than just physical traits from our families. We inherit emotional patterns, limiting beliefs, and unhealed wounds that have been passed down through generations. And here's what most people don't realize. When you heal yourself, you're not just changing your own life. You're healing your ancestors and blessing every generation that comes after you. In this video, we're going to explore something profound and beautiful. We're going to discover how your personal healing journey is actually an act of love that transcends time itself. You'll learn why the patterns you struggle with might not even be yours, how your courage to heal today brings peace to those who came before you, and how you're creating a legacy of wholeness for those who will come after. This isn't just theory or wishful thinking. This is based on the wisdom of Louise Hay, who understood that we're all connected and that love is the most powerful healing force in the universe. I'm going to share practical insights, real stories, and gentle guidance that will help you see your healing journey in a completely new light. And there's a special moment coming in this video where I'll invite you to join our community of healers, people just like you who are committed to breaking old patterns and creating lives filled with love and freedom. Plus, I have a beautiful practice to share with you that will help you connect with your ancestors and send healing through your entire family line. So take a deep breath, settle in, and know that you're exactly where you need to be. Your willingness to be here, to learn, to grow, it's already making a difference. Let's begin this sacred journey together. And let's discover the incredible power you hold to heal not just yourself, but everyone connected to you through the invisible threads of love. Freedom flows backward, you know. There's something profoundly beautiful happening right now as you choose to heal yourself. Louise Hay taught us that every step we take toward our own wholeness sends ripples of love backward and forward through time. When you decide to break free from pain, from limiting beliefs, from the wounds you've carried, you're not just healing yourself. You're offering freedom to every soul who came before you, to those ancestors who struggled with the same fears, the same doubts, the same heartaches. They didn't have the tools, the awareness, or perhaps the permission to heal themselves, but you do. And when you use that power, you're completing something they couldn't finish. Think about it for a moment. The patterns you see in your life, the fears that seem to come from nowhere, the reactions that feel bigger than the situation, these often aren't entirely yours. They're inherited, passed down through generations like precious heirlooms. Except these heirlooms carry pain instead of joy. Your grandmother's anxiety about money, your grandfather's inability to express love, your great-aunt's fear of being seen. All of these energies can flow through the family line, settling into your heart as if they were your own stories. But here's the miraculous truth that Louise Hay understood so deeply. When you heal, when you choose love over fear, when you say, "I am worthy of peace and joy," you're not just speaking for yourself. You're speaking for all of them. Imagine a beautiful tapestry woven through time, with threads connecting you to every person who shares your blood, your lineage, your family story. Each thread carries both light and shadow, both gifts and burdens. When you do the work of healing, when you sit with your pain and transform it with compassion, you're gently untangling the knots in those threads. You're allowing light to flow more freely through the entire tapestry. Louise Hay would remind us that this isn't about blame or judgment. It's about understanding that we're all connected and that love is the most powerful force in the universe. I am healing myself and my entire family line with every loving choice I make. Consider Sarah. a woman who struggled with perfectionism her entire life. Nothing she did ever felt good enough, and she drove herself to exhaustion trying to prove her worth. Through her healing journey, she discovered that her mother had felt the same way, and her grandmother before that. 3 generations of women who believed they had to earn love through achievement. When Sarah began practicing Louise Hay's mirror work, looking into her own eyes and saying, "I love and approve of myself exactly as I am," something shifted, not just in her, but in the entire family system. Her mother, without knowing about Sarah's work, suddenly felt lighter. She started being gentler with herself. The pattern was breaking. This is the gift you give when you heal. You're not being selfish by focusing on your own growth and transformation. You're being generous beyond measure. You're offering your ancestors the peace they couldn't find, the self-love they couldn't access, the freedom they couldn't claim. And you're ensuring that the generations who come after you, your children, your nieces and nephews, the young souls who will carry your family forward, they'll inherit something different. They'll inherit your courage, your healing, your love. What would it feel like to know that your healing journey is the greatest gift you could ever give to those who came before and those who will come after? Breaking the chains. Have you ever stopped to wonder why you react the way you do in certain situations? Why does rejection feel like the end of the world? Or why does success make you uncomfortable? Or why do you sabotage yourself just when things are going well? Louise Hay taught us to look deeper, to understand that many of our patterns aren't actually ours at all. They're inherited, passed down through our family line like an invisible instruction manual we never asked for. These patterns, these emotional chains, they've been binding your family for generations. But here's the empowering truth. You have the key to unlock them. And when you do, you free everyone connected to that chain. These inherited patterns show up in so many ways. Perhaps it's the belief that money is scarce and hard to come by, a belief your parents held, and their parents before them. Maybe it's the fear of speaking your truth, because in your family, those who spoke up were punished or shamed. It could be the pattern of choosing partners who can't truly see you, repeating a dynamic that's played out for generations. According to Louise Hay, these patterns live in our subconscious mind, running like background programs, influencing our choices without our conscious awareness. But the moment you become aware, the moment you shine the light of consciousness on these patterns, you begin to dissolve their power. I am free from all patterns that no longer serve me or my family. Let me share something powerful with you. When you recognize a pattern and choose differently, you're not just changing your own life. You're sending a message through the entire family system that says, "This ends here. This pain stops with me. I choose love instead." Think of Michael, a man who grew up watching his father work himself to exhaustion, believing that rest was laziness and that his worth was measured by his productivity. Michael found himself on the same path, burned out and disconnected from joy. When he discovered Louise Hay's work, he began to understand that this wasn't his truth. It was an inherited belief. He started affirming, "I am worthy of rest and pleasure. My value is inherent, not earned." As he changed his relationship with work and rest, something beautiful happened. His father, now retired, suddenly gave himself permission to relax for the first time in decades. The chains that bind us are made of beliefs, fears, and unprocessed emotions. Your ancestors carried trauma, disappointment, loss, and they did the best they could with what they had. But they couldn't always process those heavy emotions, so they passed them down, hoping perhaps that someone in the future would have the strength and tools to transform them. That someone is you. Louise Hay believed deeply in the power of affirmations and conscious choice to rewire our minds and hearts. When you say, I release all fear and doubt that isn't mine to carry. You're literally changing the energy that flows through your family line. You're choosing to be the one who breaks the chain. This work isn't always easy, and it requires courage to look at the patterns honestly. But you don't have to do it with harshness or judgment. Louise Hay's approach was always rooted in gentleness and self-compassion. You can look at these inherited patterns and say, I see you. I understand why you existed. You were trying to protect me, to keep me safe. But I don't need you anymore. I'm choosing a different path. And in that moment of conscious choice, in that act of loving release, you're not just freeing yourself. You're freeing your grandmother who carried the same fear, your great-grandfather who lived with the same limitation, and all the souls in your lineage who are waiting for someone to say, enough. We deserve better. We deserve love. What pattern are you ready to release today, knowing that your freedom creates freedom for so many others? Now, before we continue, I want to invite you to be part of this transformation journey with me. If this content is touching your heart, if you're feeling these words resonate with something deep inside you, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more messages of love and healing. Leave a like if you're ready to break the chains and release the patterns that no longer serve you. And in the comments, share with me, what inherited pattern do you recognize in your life? Let's create a healing community together, supporting each other on this sacred journey. Your power lives here, right now, in this very moment. You hold more power than you might realize. Louise Hay always emphasized that the point of power is always in the present moment. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but right now. And when we're talking about ancestral healing, this truth becomes even more profound. You see, time isn't as linear as we think. The past, present, and future are all connected in ways that our logical minds struggle to comprehend. When you choose healing now, when you choose love now, when you choose to release old pain now, that choice reverberates through time itself. Your present moment becomes a healing balm for the past and a blessing for the future. So many of us get trapped in the story of what was replayed, the hurts, the disappointments, the ways we were wounded or limited. We look at our family history and feel overwhelmed by all the pain that came before us. But Louise Hay would gently remind us that dwelling in the past keeps us stuck in old patterns. The past is over. It has no power except the power we give it through our thoughts and beliefs right now. According to Louise Hay, every moment is a new beginning, a fresh opportunity to choose differently. When you stand in your present moment and declare, I am creating a new reality for myself and my lineage, you're activating a power that transcends time. I choose healing now, and my choice transforms everything. Think about Emma, a woman who spent years feeling angry at her mother for not being more emotionally available. That anger was eating away at her, affecting her relationships, her health, her sense of peace. She couldn't change her childhood. She couldn't go back and make her mother different. But what she could do, right now, was choose to see the situation through the lens of compassion. She learned that her mother had also grown up without emotional nurturing, that the pattern went back generations. In her present moment, Emma chose to say, I forgive my mother, and I forgive myself for holding on to this pain. I am free. That choice, made in the now, shifted everything. Her relationship with her mother softened. Her own capacity to give and receive love expanded. The present moment became her point of transformation. Your ancestors didn't have access to the wisdom, the tools, the understanding that you have now. They lived in different times, with different limitations, different fears, but you're here now, with awareness, with resources, with the ability to make conscious choices. This is your sacred responsibility and your greatest gift. You get to be the one who says, the suffering stops here. The limitation ends with me. I'm choosing a different path. And because you're connected to everyone in your family line, your choice in this present moment sends healing energy backward to those who came before and forward to those who will come after. Louise Hay understood that we're not victims of our past or our lineage. We're powerful creators, and our power lives in the now. Every time you choose a loving thought over a fearful one, every time you speak kindly to yourself instead of with criticism, every time you set a healthy boundary or honor your needs, you're using your present moment power to heal. You're rewriting the family story in real time. The beautiful thing about the present moment is that it's always available to you, no matter what happened yesterday, no matter what patterns you've been living. You can choose differently right now. You can pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what would love do right now? What choice would honor me and my ancestors? And then you can make that choice. This is how healing happens, not in some distant future when everything is perfect, but right now, in this imperfect, beautiful, powerful present moment. How does it feel to know that your power to heal generations' lives in this very breath you're taking? The great reunion forgiveness is perhaps the most powerful tool in your healing journey. And it's one that Louise Hay spoke about with such tenderness and wisdom. When we talk about ancestral healing, forgiveness becomes even more essential because we're not just forgiving the people who hurt us directly. We're forgiving the entire lineage, the whole family system, for the pain that was passed down. And most importantly, we're forgiving ourselves for carrying it for so long. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you're no longer willing to let the past poison your present. It means you're choosing freedom over resentment, love over bitterness, peace over pain. Many of us resist forgiveness because we think it lets the other person off the hook. We hold onto our anger and hurt as if it's protecting us somehow, as if our resentment is a form of justice. But Louise Hay taught us that holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only hurts us. When you forgive your parents for their limitations, when you forgive your grandparents for the patterns they passed down, when you forgive yourself for the ways you've repeated those patterns, you're not saying the pain didn't matter. You're saying that your peace matters more. You're saying that you deserve to be free. I forgive everyone in my family line, and I forgive myself. I am free to love and be loved. Let me tell you about David, a man who carried deep anger toward his father, who had been emotionally distant and critical throughout his childhood. That anger colored every relationship David had. He was defensive, quick to feel rejected, unable to trust. When he began working with Louise Hay's forgiveness practices, he started to see his father differently. He learned that his father had grown up in an even harsher environment, with a father who was violent and cruel. His dad had actually broken some of the pattern by not being physically abusive. Even though he couldn't break free from the emotional distance, David began to see his father as a wounded child doing his best. He wrote a forgiveness letter, not to send, but to release. I forgive you, Dad, for not knowing how to love me the way I needed. I forgive myself for holding on to this anger. I choose peace. The shift was profound. David's heart opened in ways he never thought possible. Forgiveness is a reunion, coming back together of the fragmented parts of your family's soul. When you hold resentment, you're energetically separated from your lineage, cut off from the flow of love and wisdom that wants to reach you. But when you forgive, you're saying, I see your humanity. I see your struggle. I release you from my judgment, and I release myself from this burden. According to Louise Hay, Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It's not about the other person changing or even acknowledging what they did. It's about you choosing to no longer carry the weight of old wounds. And when you make that choice, you create space for miracles. You create space for healing to flow through your entire family line. The practice of forgiveness isn't always a one-time event. Sometimes it's a daily choice, a gentle returning to love when the old hurts try to resurface. You might need to forgive the same person, the same situation, many times before it fully releases, and that's okay. Louise Hay would encourage you to be patient and gentle with yourself. You can say, I am willing to forgive. I am willing to see this differently. I am willing to choose peace. Even the willingness is enough to start the healing process. And as you practice forgiveness, as you release the old resentments and judgments, you'll notice something beautiful. You'll feel lighter. You'll have more energy. Your relationships will improve. And you'll know, deep in your soul, that you've given your ancestors and your descendants the greatest gift possible, the gift of freedom from the past. Who in your family line are you ready to forgive today, knowing that your forgiveness heals so much more than you can see? The love you deserve. If there's one teaching that Louise Hay is most known for, it's the transformative power of self-love. She believed, and taught millions of people, that loving yourself is the most important thing you can do. And when we bring this wisdom into the context of ancestral healing, it becomes even more profound. You see, many of our ancestors never learned to love themselves. They were taught to sacrifice, to put everyone else first, to believe they weren't worthy of care and tenderness. That lack of self-love created patterns of depletion, resentment, and disconnection that rippled through generations. But when you choose to love yourself, when you make your own well-being a priority, you're breaking that pattern and offering a new template for your entire family line. Self-love isn't selfish, it's sacred. It's the foundation upon which all healing is built. Louise Hay would say that if you don't love yourself, you can't truly love anyone else, and you can't receive love from others. When you look in the mirror and criticize what you see, when you speak to yourself with harshness, when you ignore your needs and push yourself beyond your limits, you're continuing an old family pattern. But when you choose differently, when you speak to yourself with kindness, when you honor your body and your boundaries, when you treat yourself as someone precious and worthy, you're creating a revolution of love. I love and approve of myself exactly as I am, and this love heals my entire lineage. Consider Rachel, a woman who spent her whole life trying to earn love through achievement and people-pleasing. She was exhausted, burned out, and deeply unhappy. She realized that her mother had done the same thing, always putting everyone else first, never believing she deserved rest or pleasure, and her grandmother had been the same way. 3 generations of women who didn't know how to love themselves. When Rachel discovered Louise Hay's mirror work, everything changed. She began standing in front of the mirror every day, looking into her own eyes and saying, I love you, Rachel. You are enough. You are worthy. At first, it felt awkward and false, but she kept going. And slowly, something shifted. She started making choices that honored her needs. She said no when she needed to. She rested without guilt. And the most beautiful thing happened. Her daughter, watching her mother's transformation, began to love herself too. The pattern was breaking. According to Louise Hay, self-love is a practice, not a destination. It's something you choose again and again, moment by moment, day by day. It's in the small things, speaking kindly to yourself when you make a mistake, feeding your body nourishing food, getting enough rest, setting boundaries with people who drain you, celebrating your wins, forgiving your perceived failures. Every act of self-love is an act of ancestral healing. Every time you choose to honor yourself, you're sending a message through your family line that says, we are worthy, we deserve love, we matter, and that message transforms everything. It gives your ancestors permission to rest in peace, knowing that their descendant has finally claimed the love they couldn't access. And it gives your descendants a blueprint for a life built on self-worth and compassion. The journey to self-love often requires us to unlearn so much of what we were taught. We were taught that we have to earn love, that we're only valuable if we're productive, that our worth is conditional. But Louise Hay's message is clear and unwavering. You are worthy of love simply because you exist. You don't have to do anything, achieve anything, or be anything other than who you are. Your worthiness is inherent, and when you truly embrace this truth, when you let it sink into every cell of your being, you become a beacon of light for your entire family. You show them what's possible. You demonstrate that love isn't something we chase or earn, it's something we are. I am worthy of all the love, joy, and abundance life has to offer. What would your life look like if you truly, deeply loved yourself, knowing that your self-love is a gift to everyone connected to you? Weaving tomorrow, every choice you make today is weaving the fabric of tomorrow. Louise Hay understood that we're not just healing the past, we're also creating the future. And when you do the work of healing yourself and your ancestral line, you're not only freeing those who came before you, you're also blessing those who will come after, the children in your family, whether they're your own or your nieces, nephews, or the young souls you'll never meet, but who carry your lineage forward. They will inherit the fruits of your healing work. They'll grow up in a different emotional environment, with different beliefs about what's possible, because you chose to break the old patterns and create something new. Think about the legacy you're creating right now with every healing choice you make. When you choose to speak your truth instead of staying silent, you're teaching the next generation that their voice matters. When you choose to rest instead of pushing through exhaustion, you're showing them that their well-being is important. When you choose to love yourself instead of criticizing yourself, you're giving them permission to do the same. Louise Hay believed that we teach by example, that our energy and our choices speak louder than our words. The children in your life are watching, absorbing, learning from how you treat yourself and others. And even if there are no children in your immediate circle, the energy you're creating affects the collective consciousness of your family line. I am creating a legacy of love, healing, and wholeness for all generations. Let me share the story of Maria, a woman who grew up in a family where emotions were never discussed, where vulnerability was seen as weakness, and where everyone suffered in silence. Maria carried that pattern into her adult life, struggling with depression and isolation because she didn't know how to express what she felt. When she began her healing journey with Louise Hay's work, she learned to honor her emotions, to speak them, to let them move through her. She started therapy, joined support groups, and practiced emotional honesty. Years later, when her niece came to her struggling with anxiety, Maria was able to hold space for her in a way no one in the family had ever done before. She listened without judgment, validated her feelings, and helped her find support. That niece is now a young woman who knows how to ask for help, who isn't afraid of her emotions, who has tools for healing. Maria's work created a new possibility for her. The legacy you're weaving isn't just about avoiding pain or breaking negative patterns. It's also about amplifying the gifts, the strengths, the beauty that exists in your lineage. Every family has wisdom, resilience, creativity, and love woven into its story. When you heal, you're able to access those gifts more fully and pass them on more consciously. According to Louise Hay, we're all connected to infinite intelligence and infinite love. When we clear away the blocks, the fears, the old wounds, we become clearer channels for that love and wisdom to flow through us and into the world. You're not just stopping the pain, you're amplifying the light. You're taking the best of what came before and making it even brighter for those who come after. Imagine, years from now, a child in your family line living with confidence, self-love, and emotional freedom. Imagine them facing challenges with resilience, expressing their needs with clarity, creating healthy relationships, pursuing their dreams without the weight of old family fears holding them back. That child's freedom exists because of the work you're doing right now. That child's joy is possible because you chose to heal. Louise Hay would remind you that this is the most important work you can do, not just for yourself, but for the collective healing of your family and the world. Every person who heals themselves contributes to the healing of humanity. You're not just changing your own life, you're changing the trajectory of your entire lineage. What kind of legacy do you want to weave, knowing that your healing today creates possibilities for generations you'll never meet? Words that transform, words have power. The things we say to ourselves, the beliefs we repeat in our minds, they shape our reality in profound ways. Louise Hay built her entire life's work on this truth, teaching that affirmations, positive statements spoken with intention and feeling, can literally rewire our minds and transform our lives. And when we use affirmations with the awareness that we're healing not just ourselves but our entire ancestral line, they become even more potent. Every time you speak a loving affirmation, you're rewriting the family story. You're replacing old narratives of lack, fear, and unworthiness with new narratives of abundance, love, and empowerment. Your ancestors spoke words to themselves too, though they might not have been conscious of it. They repeated beliefs like life is hard, money doesn't grow on trees, don't get your hopes up, people like us don't succeed, it's not safe to be seen. These statements, repeated over and over, became the operating system of the family. They were passed down, absorbed, and lived out by each generation. But you have the power to install a new operating system. According to Louise Hay, affirmations work because the subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's true and what we tell it repeatedly with emotion and conviction. When you affirm, I am safe, I am loved, I am abundant, your subconscious begins to accept that as reality and creates experiences to match. I speak words of love and healing for myself and all my ancestors. Think about Jennifer, a woman who grew up hearing her mother say, "We're not lucky people. Good things don't happen to us." That belief became Jennifer's reality. She expected disappointment, and she found it everywhere. Relationships ended, job opportunities fell through, and she felt like she was cursed. When she discovered Louise Hay's work, she began to challenge that old family belief. She started saying every morning, I am blessed. Good things flow to me. I am open to receiving all the abundance life has to offer. At first, it felt like she was lying to herself, but she kept going, speaking the words with as much feeling as she could muster. Slowly, things began to shift. She noticed opportunities she would have missed before. She took chances she would have avoided. Her life began to reflect her new beliefs, and when she shared her transformation with her mother, something beautiful happened. Her mother, inspired by Jennifer's change, started using affirmations too. The beauty of affirmations is that they're simple, accessible, and free. You don't need special training or expensive tools. You just need your voice, your intention, and your willingness to speak a new truth. Louise Hay would encourage you to create affirmations that feel personal and meaningful to you, that address the specific patterns you're healing. If your family carried shame, you might affirm, I release all shame. I am proud of who I am. If your family struggled with scarcity, you might say, I live in an abundant universe. There is enough for everyone, including me. If your family feared intimacy, you might declare, I am safe to love and be loved. My heart is open and protected. Speak these words in the mirror. Write them in your journal. Say them as you fall asleep. Let them become the new soundtrack of your life. As you practice affirmations, you might notice resistance coming up. Old voices might say, this is silly. This won't work. Who do you think you are? That resistance is the old pattern trying to maintain its hold, but you're stronger than the pattern. You have the power of conscious choice. Louise Hay would tell you to meet that resistance with gentleness and persistence. You can say, I hear you, old belief, but I'm choosing something different now. Thank you for trying to protect me, but I don't need you anymore. And then return to your affirmation with even more conviction. Every time you choose the new thought over the old one, you're strengthening the new neural pathway. You're reinforcing the new family story. I am rewriting my family's story with every loving word I speak. What affirmation feels most powerful for you right now, knowing that speaking it heals not just you but your entire lineage? Love across time, there's something almost magical about the work you're doing, something that transcends our ordinary understanding of how life works. When you heal, when you choose love, when you transform your pain into wisdom, you're creating an echo that moves through time in all directions. Louise Hay spoke often about the interconnectedness of all life, about how we're all part of one infinite consciousness. And nowhere is this more evident than in the healing of family lines. Your transformation doesn't just affect you in this moment, it ripples backward, offering peace to ancestors who suffered, and it ripples forward, creating ease for descendants who haven't even been born yet. You are the center point of a wave of love that extends infinitely. This concept might challenge your logical mind, and that's okay. We've been taught to think of time as a straight line, with the past behind us and the future ahead. But many spiritual traditions, and even modern physics, suggest that time is more fluid than that. All moments exist simultaneously in the eternal now. When you heal something in your present moment, you're actually shifting the energy of the entire timeline. Louise Hay understood this intuitively. She knew that when we change our thoughts and beliefs now, we're not just creating a different future, we're also healing the past. The pain your grandmother carried, the fear your great-grandfather lived with, they can be touched and transformed by your love right now. My healing transcends time, bringing peace to all who came before and all who will come after. Consider the story of Thomas, a man who carried deep grief about his father's death. His father had died young, full of regrets, never having pursued his dreams or expressed his love openly. Thomas felt that grief like a stone in his chest for years. Through his work with Louise Hay's teachings, he began to send love back through time to his father. He would sit quietly, place his hand on his heart, and say, Dad, I send you love. I forgive you for what you couldn't give. I honored the love you had but couldn't express. You are free, and I am free. Thomas couldn't change the facts of his father's life or death, but he could change the energy around it. And as he did this practice, he felt the grief begin to lift. He felt a sense of peace and connection with his father that he'd never experienced when his father was alive. The healing moved through time. The echo of your love doesn't require you to do anything complicated or mystical. It happens naturally as a result of your healing work. Every time you choose compassion over judgment, every time you release an old resentment, every time you speak kindly to yourself, You're sending out a frequency of love that touches everything connected to you. According to Louise Hay, love is the most powerful force in the universe. It dissolves fear, heals wounds, and transforms darkness into light. When you embody love, when you become a living expression of self-acceptance and compassion, you become a healing presence for your entire family system. Your ancestors feel it. Your living relatives feel it, even if they don't understand why they suddenly feel lighter around you. And the future generations feel it, receiving the gift of your consciousness before they even arrive. This is the profound truth of ancestral healing. You are never alone in your journey. You're supported by all the love that came before you, all the strength and resilience of those who survived so you could be here. And you're also supported by the future, by the gratitude of those who will benefit from your courage to heal. You stand at the center of a web of love that extends in all directions, and your healing strengthens every thread of that web. Louise Hay would want you to know that this work you're doing, this commitment to your own healing and growth, it matters more than you can possibly imagine. You're not just changing your own life, you're participating in the evolution of consciousness itself. You're proving that love is stronger than fear, that healing is always possible, that we can break free from the past and create something beautiful and new. How does it feel to know that your love echoes through eternity, touching hearts across time and space? Now, coming up soon, we're going to do a powerful practical exercise together that will help you embody everything we've learned so far. Stay with me because this practice is going to be transformative and will connect you even more deeply with the healing energy you're creating for yourself and your family. A letter to your lineage. Now that we've explored these beautiful truths together, I want to offer you a practice that will help you embody this healing and make it real in your body, heart, and soul. This is called the Ancestral Love Letter practice, and it's a gentle yet powerful way to connect with your lineage and send healing energy through time. Here's what you're going to do. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed for about 15 to 20 minutes. Bring a journal or some paper and a pen. Light a candle if you'd like, creating a sacred space for this work. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths, feeling yourself settling into this present moment. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, connecting with your own loving presence. Now, I want you to think about your family line, all the people who came before you. You don't need to know their names or their stories. Just feel into the energy of your ancestors, the ones who carried pain, fear, or limitation. Imagine them standing behind you in a long line stretching back through time. See them with compassion, understanding that they did the best they could with what they had. Take a moment to simply acknowledge them, to honor their struggles and their strength. When you feel ready, open your eyes and begin writing a letter to your ancestors. Start with "Dear ones" or "To my beloved ancestors." Write from your heart. Tell them what you've learned, what you're healing, what patterns you're breaking. Thank them for the gifts they gave you, the resilience, the love, the life itself. Forgive them for the pain they passed down, knowing they didn't do it intentionally. Let them know that you're doing the work they couldn't do, and that your healing is setting everyone free. Write whatever wants to come through. Don't edit or judge. Just let the words flow. After you've written your letter, read it out loud. Speak the words with feeling, with intention, with love. As you read, imagine your ancestors hearing you, feeling your compassion, receiving your forgiveness and your love. See them smiling, their burdens lifting, their hearts opening. Feel the connection between you and them strengthening. becoming a channel of pure love rather than pain. When you finish reading, place your hand on your heart again and say 3 times, "I am healing myself and my entire family line with love. We are all free. We are all blessed. We are all whole." Finally, you can keep this letter in a special place, or you can release it ceremonially by burning it safely, imagining the smoke carrying your message of love through time and space. Trust that your intention has been received, that the healing has begun, and that you've just participated in something sacred and transformative. Louise Hay would be so proud of you for having the courage to do this work. Remember, healing isn't a one-time event. You can return to this practice whenever you feel called, writing new letters, sending more love, deepening the healing. You are a powerful healer, and your love is changing everything. Your sacred work begins, dear one. You've taken such a beautiful journey today, and I hope you feel the power of what you're doing. Remember that every step you take toward healing yourself is a gift of love to everyone connected to you, past, present, and future. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to heal everything at once. Just keep choosing love. Keep choosing compassion. Keep choosing to see yourself and your family with gentle eyes. Louise Hay's greatest teaching was that love heals everything, and you are living proof of that truth. Trust the process, be patient with yourself, and know that you are supported by an infinite source of love that flows through you and around you always. You are doing sacred work, and the universe celebrates every loving choice you make. Go forward with peace in your heart, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be,